it's really easy for a woman to get opportunities in poker very fast because it is one of those industries where it's so male dominated that there is a huge demand and a need for female presence in like every single game. And it can be hard to be the only woman, so there's like a takeaway with that. I think that's a big advantage in a way that you can move up very quickly. So like I could probably be welcome in any game in the country I wanted to if I had enough money to play it, just based on that I'm a girl. Honestly, I don't think it's that hard to, like, I think people stress out about it so hard to get into high stakes games, and I'm like, y'all, not that many people have that much money. Like, just show up with the money. I think you can get in.
What's up, guys? Today I've got one of the spicier poker players who's decided to make fun of me in one of her content pieces. And this is apparently what prompted the podcast. Why not? I'm all for absurd things. And she's the rising star of content creation in poker, according to the GPI Awards. And is in comedy, making skits, and playing poker, and somehow combining two to make a living. And presumably is making fun of lots of other people too. Caitlin, what's going on?
You know, just having a great day, Dan. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I thought you'd be an interesting guest. And actually, I didn't 100% realize it, but you fall into a category of person that I wonder if could exist or could be. Well, one that's basically an artist that also plays poker, and this like might actually make sense for a lot of creative types, but I wanted to see if that was the case. I want to know what life is like for someone. I did some diving into, and I found that you're originally in comedy, which is a very hard business to make money in. I don't think people appreciate it, but now the Jungleman's interested in this. I'm like, oh, I've succeeded at poker. What about fields that I can't make any money in, like comedy? Like, yeah, what's going on with those? But it's fun and interesting. So I was curious how you are able to, like, how are you using poker to balance your life with comedy? Or actually, you know what? Let's get to that in a second. I do really want to hear about that. Okay. I'm going to sorrel you a little bit, but I want to start with actually some hooks. This is what they do in comedy, right? It's like kind of like a bait and switch. I don't know, is that the term? But they do. Yeah. Okay. But I want to talk about what other kind of things you've made. I saw some other skits that you've made. Like I saw this thing with Doug mocking him with his comment about the cover of the magazine, the beauty cover of the magazine. I saw that. Yeah, that's still to date my most popular tweet, and that event didn't even overlay. So that's like one of my favorite memories in poker. That came probably a good 6 months before my first viral video with the Jack forehand when so for those that don't remember, Doug tweeted there was a size 18 woman, like she's a big lady, like no front, was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, this model, and he had some like pretty I don't know, uncouth things to say about it. He just said, like, this isn't beautiful, which is just like, who are you to be the arbiter of beauty? So anyway, just very impulsively, and I'll do this like very frequently whenever anything I do worthwhile, it was usually an impulsive last minute decision. So I was a lot bigger than I am currently at the time. I was well over 200 pounds. I was like a size 16 or an 18, and I posted a picture in my underwear, and I said, thank you, Doug. He was looking for a micro plus size influencer to, help him get the word out about his tournament that's overlaying. He said he was so grateful to have me. And anyway, that to date, I think maybe second only to my first Robbie J. Lou video. I think that's my most popular thing I've ever done on Twitter. And then it was so funny because I went to go play poker the next day in Texas, and I was like, everyone in the room has seen me in my underwear. Like, what have I done? So if you're interested in learning more about that, I actually did make a vlog about it. In this era of my life, I was making poker vlogs. I made about 8 poker vlogs that I keep up and available on my YouTube. And I put some hard work into them. I think they're pretty interesting. So I encourage you to check it out if you like my sketches. So guys, check out our poker blogs. Why don't you give us a little brief summary of what we can expect from the poker blog? What are some highlights?
Yeah, the first episode I ever did was my biggest score ever. That's where it started. I started in poker doing like meetup games and game organizing. And as a cash grinder, I'd play the cash streams in Texas. And I decided to make a vlog after I got this huge score. I cashed second in a 500K guarantee at the lodge for $60,000. So the first episode of my vlog is like me taking you through my day 2 journey. And that was such a special day for me because up to that point, I had never made it past the first level of a 2-day event. And then I went on to get like second that evening for $60,000. So every single milestone was just like a huge deal, like every time my hands held. And then I gambled a lot towards the end because I was shorter at the final table. So I took a couple of spots that were super gambly that paid off. So it's a wild ride. Definitely my first episode. And then 6 months later, I did it again and I got second in the same tournament in October for $55,000. So 2 of my vlog episodes are about that. But then I also have vlog episodes where I go visit my old burlesque troupe and I perform with them at like a winery and a VFW post. And then I have an episode where I like go to Vegas and I'm on a bender and it's more of like, you know, my lifestyle. And then there's some hands of me punting on streams, sort of like just sprinkled in there. But definitely my vlog focuses more on like lifestyle than hand histories because I don't even think I had the poker vocabulary at the time I made the vlogs to be breaking down anything.
Well, the lifestyle is also what's intriguing because the poker lifestyle, the poker comedy lifestyle is one that's rarely traveled by many at all, especially when there's like so much freedom to it, I presume. I'm a bit curious what happened on these vendors in Las Vegas, what these DGen activities were. So are those PG?
For sure. Yeah, I can talk about this freely because I have since become a good girl. There's my halo. I don't do these things anymore, but
you're past your bad girl phase.
No, yeah, I'm past it. I've evolved. But I used to get pretty dirty in the UTH streams. I could piss off $3,000 on a low limit table pretty quick back in my day. I fuck around with the electronic craps. Real craps, too easy. Odds too good. Gotta go with the electronic craps. And then these days I've curtailed it so much to where I'm like playing quarter deuces wild video poker. And that's where I get my thrill. I win or lose up to $6 and I really feel alive, you know. Do you DJ?
I was just thinking about that. I basically was DGen-less, and actually I'm a lifetime table game winner for sure, but not even close. I've got the Midas touch when it comes to table games, but it's also that, like, it's the call of the universe for when I play. It's not because I want to win money. I don't care about that. I'm about the love of the game. So that's my secret to actually winning at table games. I don't give a fuck. But I do have a story about that. And by the way, and I do have a DGen situation, but there's this one slot game that was called something like, it had pictures with like rich people and like on yachts, and it was like about the rich life or something. I forget what it was called. Damn it, I need the name. But basically, it had like people rolling in cash and all that. And I thought, this is too funny. I gotta try to win at this. Like, they lured me in. Maybe I can like hang with those people a bit more and like talk about like how I lost some money at some slot machines with pictures on them. So I've lost like $200 or so playing that. Man, these things don't pay at all. But
you think you're going to be okay? You keep the lights on after that?
I did keep the lights on. That was like the one thing that really lured me in and thought, you know, maybe there's some fast cash to be made at these slot machines. But yeah, I need to find that slot machine that's got it in. I know where it is. It's an Aria. That's that touch of DJ. It makes it more fun when you're actually, you know, you get over your bad boy phase. Yeah, I'm also, by the way, I'm totally over my bad boy phase. I'm just, you know, I don't do anything bad anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm so proud of you. You don't hire sex workers, nothing?
No. But I've definitely done my fair share of DJing. I mean, it was kind of impossible not to in Las Vegas. So are you telling me that you never went to the strip clubs or anything like that? This wasn't in
So when I was in my game organizer phase and like all I cared about was like networking and getting everyone's number and making everyone like me because I was running like 6 games a week. Like, yeah, you'd find me in the strip club, but I would like spend the whole time out on the smoker's patio so that the boys could enjoy the girls without my harsh judgmental eyes. And then I just come out. And what was really funny is
like when you become the girl who's on the smoking patio, like the strippers come to you, and then I'm like smoking out all the strippers, and my friends would come out, and I'd be like, oh, hey, boys. And they're like, oh, the dancers are all out here with you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a good time. Like, get with it.
Wait. You're out working like 6 different games and you're like trying to connect with guys in strip clubs or something? This sounds like
I would go with I mean, I had a very brief Molly's game phase in my life where I was working for one of the smaller clubs in Texas, but I was going to the strip club with like people I already had relationships with. I was just trying to strengthen relationships with. I don't know if that was the way to do it. Maybe I'm a dipshit, but I've been inside like at least 5 or 6 strip clubs in Austin because of that stratagem. And hey, my games were full, Dan. So, don't question the method.
It was working. Well, this is also a conversation topic. I mean, for me, like I've had a fair share of the strip clubs, etc. And at some point, I like kind of occurred to me that there's like nothing positive going on here, and I was like, you know what, fuck this shit. But the Austin ones are a little bit less toxic. I don't shame sex workers.
There's no shame in the game. Like I have a history of I used to perform in burlesque shows. I wasn't a striptease dancer, but I was like a host of the show. So there's no shame in any girl's game. Like it's a hustle. It's like almost like a sales job. Like they have to drum up business and go around the room and like I have respect for that job as a hustle. And a lot of times they have to put up with a lot of shit and abuse, especially from people in management. So like I have respect and love for strippers, but as an activity for me, I'm glad that is an activity that is no longer necessary in my life because it can be kind of like dark for sure.
Even like being a burlesque manager could be dark because this doesn't sound that bad.
No, I mean, we were performing for, it was the brand I worked for was called Pinups on Tour. So we would provide free entertainment for veterans and military. We never went on base, but we would do hospital visits. We went to VFWs, AMVETS posts, American Legions. And, we were well taken care of. Nobody ever disrespected us. Our servicemen in this country are stand-up guys. I'm proud to announce.
All right. Well, good for the service guys in the military or whatever that
Thanks,
respects
Uncle
the
Sam.
burlesque girls.
They sure
Uncle
do.
Dan, not Uncle Dan. What the fuck? And also, so this actually sounds kind of innocent. I don't know. Did it pay well? It doesn't sound like it paid much at all.
No, I got paid $100 a day for the burlesque troupe with like some, I don't know, maybe I got like $30 in per diem to like eat at Denny's. But it was around that time where I started playing poker on the road, like more regularly. So when we would have an off day in like Indiana or Montana or whatever, I'd get online and I'd find the nearest room. And a lot of times I'd be making more money playing poker than I was, actually doing stand up and hosting the burlesque show. It was a fun time. I'm in my like mid 20s around this time. It's cool.
Okay, I mean, it sounds interesting. This sounds like the mix of beginnings of some kind of like reality show of some sort, right? Some like grunge reality show. Like, what's going on
it wasn't glamorous.
Hustlers,
I'm getting $100 a day. So we're in like a 15-person passenger, like Predator van that has, just like our insignia. Yeah, no. And then like it's like full to the brim. We have way too many people and we're like, we have our merch. We have the alcohol we're selling. We have all our costumes. We have like 6 weeks of our personal items. So we have to do a jigsaw puzzle every time we unload and load the van. We're all our own roadies. We're all our own, like we're taking the tickets. We're like, it was, a ragtag group, but it was fun and we were doing what we loved and, waiting for the next big thing.
This sounds like a Burning Man adventure, to be honest. And
yeah.
I mean, it sounds a little bit exciting. Aside from the whole unpacking everything, that sounds like a pain in the ass sort of thing.
Yeah, and sometimes we would be like 4 girls to a double bedroom, or maybe there'd be a 5th girl on an air mattress on the floor. Like, it was cozy, at times. But then we kind of smartened up and we learned how to travel with less people. And then we all got our own beds and, luxury at the day's end.
Oh, wow.
With our continental breakfast. Mm-hmm.
Oh, continental breakfast too. Oh, wow. What else are you getting?
Dehydrated eggs. Jealous?
Oh, whoa. No, wait. No, stop. Now I'm getting jealous a little bit. I mean, living the road life. I'd watch like
you were like winning 50Ks at this point in your life.
I mean, I was like stuck in my like basement. I had like a bed. I was living like Saw basically.
How old were you when you like broke through and you started having money and it wasn't like you could buy things you wanted and you were comfortable? How old were you when that happened for you?
You know what? I'm making a South Park video about this, but basically, it was a moment. It was a fucking destiny moment. What happened? Actually, straight up out of fucking destiny. But I don't think I want to ruin it totally. But basically, I like went from like breaking even to like boom, I won a tournament, and then from that point forward, I just always ate out, and I had like $5,000 in the bank, and I just always ate out from that point forward. Like, and from that moment forward, I started to have like money compared to my friends, and became rich within like a year and a half. I became rich, like multi-millions basically.
How old are you? You said you're 25.
Well, this was when I was. I mean, it's been a very thing. I was always kind of. My advantage was I didn't care about luxury. I didn't give a fuck. So my expenses were relatively low. 18 when I had $5,000. So by the time I was 20 years old, I was really fucking rich compared to everybody else.
Oh, you were that young? Oh my God. What'd you do with your money when you were that young? I
just kept trying to make more money, honestly. That was the short version. I mean, also, it's a bit of a longer story, but yeah. I was grinding my face off. Like, for the longest time, I was stuck in college. Like, it doesn't sound that cool, but the whole making money part was cool. Everyone was out partying, and I was, like, stuck in my room just grinding, or my mom's basement, no joke, just fucking playing poker. That was what I was doing. I was, like, getting it, you know? Not getting laid. I was not getting laid. They were not talking about that. I was getting those bills. Yes. For the strip club and all that. Yeah, that was
exactly. Me. So you could afford the sex workers. Perfect. You don't need no game.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's one weird way of doing it. So the weird route. Okay, so let's talk about you again. Okay, so let's go back to how did you. Well, you're playing poker and you're doing your performances. I'm a little bit curious. I'm a bit curious what your male counterparts were doing. That's one question. But also, I mean, more importantly, well, because they can't be really doing the burlesque show. They got to do something else, right? There's no like audience.
Well, what's my male counterparts? Is that men I'm dating or men that I went to college with? Maybe. Or like, what do you mean male counterparts?
Let's start with poker first because we got to stay on track. Okay, so were you making like real money while doing this while playing poker? Because you said that you made.
I didn't make real money in poker until I moved back home to Texas and was playing like these uncapped 1-2, 1-3, 2-5 games that would just get out of control. And, you know, nobody was studying yet. Nobody listened to Bart Hansen yet. They were soft as fuck. I came in and I knew the rules and I was just, you know, that was good enough. I figured out how to play bomb pots before everybody else. So there was a time in these Texas games in the 2-5 streets where I would just double through a bomb pot and that was my night and it was good living and good eating. And I was printing between like 10 and 15K a month. It was good. It was a good life, you know, and it was actually when I moved to content that I was like, okay, we have to like focus on building a platform and like we're going to make less money as a consequence to do this other thing. But yeah, I didn't make money until that would have been 2019 was probably the first year I did well, like playing in cash poker in Texas. Before that, it was just a hobby and I didn't even track it. Like I was probably lucky to break even when I was like playing on the road and I was living in LA at the time playing at Hustler. I think maybe I broke even. Maybe I lost a little.
Oh, really? So you didn't even win from it. You just like, until you became a bomb pot specialist, like pre-Bart Hansen days.
Not until Texas was I even tracking it. Like, I don't even know. Like, my memory, I remember when I was out on a 6-week road trip with my burlesque troupe, I remember doing really well on all my off days and I made like $1,500 through like 3 different little podunk town games. And that was a big deal and cool to me at the time. So like I definitely had like triumphs, but I also remember having like rough nights at Hustler, losing like $600, $800. And I wasn't tracking it at the time. So I can't really give you an honest answer about whether I was profitable or not. But, my guess is not really measurably so. It's plus or minus like 2K either way. Like I wasn't playing big stakes.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the questions would it be feasible for people in the arts to like play poker? Because a lot of people in the arts are actually intrigued by poker. Would it be feasible for them to actually make money while supporting their arts? Because I understand that it's quite tough, especially to make content or do something in the arts to make like any decent money. I don't really understand how the fuck they do make decent money unless even if they get famous, you might not make decent money, to be honest. I don't understand it.
Most people in the arts that I came up with, it's a really tough grind because you're working like 40 hours a week, either writing, taking comedy classes, doing stand-up, doing open mics, like working and becoming the artist you are. But you also have to have like, a life job that gives you enough money that you can keep going, or you have to be lucky enough to have family support. But like, yeah, it's a really tough go out there. I worked as a nanny. And I worked as a chess tutor for preschoolers. I would teach 3 to 5-year-olds how to play chess, but I had a bunch of odd jobs. I was a personal chef for a family. Like you just do what makes it work, but you're like a shark. You never stop swimming because you're hungry. You want to be famous. Like I wanted to win like when I was straight out of college, I wanted to win an Oscar. I wanted to be on SNL. Like I was hungry. I was willing to do the work, and I did. I got out there. I hustled.
Okay, I mean, I think that's an interesting journey personally. I'm like, yeah, what about all the crazy routes and stuff? Like, what's going on with those? Like, fuck all this like real estate bullshit and I'm doing stocks. Fuck that money shit. I want to talk about
what about the loser
hustle.
Theater kid nerds that just want to be famous? Let's check in on those kids. How are they?
Well,
but I was really lucky to find poker in a way, because it was getting really hard out there in LA. It's a tough town. It's, you think you're good. There were a couple of times where I thought like my big break was coming, where like I got into this big comedy festival. They booked me on top shows, or like I was meeting with a manager. Someone asked to read a script, or, you get a call back for an off-Broadway show and you think that's going to be the thing. And it's really hard to ride those emotional roller coasters as the artist for sure. Those were very, frantic, chaotic years emotionally.
It sounds very tough, actually. It sounds super tough, especially if you're not like equipped to do with stuff like that, or if you're like kind of coddled your entire life. Like I would think that a lot of beautiful people with not a lot of talent would get like their asses handed to them. That would be their like
and then those are the ones that become realtors or personal trainers. And, there's a path for them too. They can still make money off being hot by being a realtor or a personal trainer, influencer, everybody got their
OnlyFans. Don't forget. That's probably the thing.
I don't support that road for women. I think it's, the short-term gains are not worth the long-term, consequences you have to deal with. But, again, I don't shame sex work. Do you?
I'm actually, I'm actually intrigued by that, because I asked myself that same question before I considered making an OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, we could talk about it. I think there are like so many people that like to act like, who was it? Joey Tong it's, J-Mo was online talking the other day about how it's just like, almost like, why wouldn't you like take a starter fund and then invest that money? And now all of a sudden your money is making money. And it's like, okay, like there's like the top 10% of OnlyFans creators can maybe do that. But then there's like 90% of the women that try and fail to do it. And then they've like embarrassed themselves in front of their friends and family. Now, like people that they're not uncomfortable with seeing their naked body or doing sex acts have seen it. The internet is forever. Now everybody has those images of you, and you have to live with that for the rest of your life, of being like the punchline of any joke and no one taking you seriously. Like it wouldn't be something I would want to do, and so I get annoyed when people talk about it like, oh, is this fast track, easy money? Like, top 10 ways to fucking sell your body to get a mutual fund started.
Yeah, I would think, well, my personal intrigue into it was that, I mean, it's clearly selling out in some kind of way, right? And it seems that things that are sellouts should not theoretically pay out in the long run. This is how I think of things. So I presume that there's some kind of long-term consequences. But I mean, I mean,
yeah, emotional trauma. We're not going to see the effects of that. In like 20 years, there's going to be a series of documentaries about these girls and what was really going on. And if there was like an Andrew Tate type pimp figure in her life that siphoned off all the money anyway. And so now she's left with nothing. Like, we're going to be seeing these documentaries in 15, 20 years, and they're going to break our hearts. But like, we're aware that it's happening now. Like, don't pretend.
To be fair, I don't know what these guys are doing to like pimp off the OnlyFans girls. I guess they're getting them clients or some shit. I don't fucking know how.
Well, I mean, it's like the Andrew Tate thing is he's just like literally trafficking women. You find women that, you know, are trying to get out of their current circumstances. They're, you know, beautiful or physically gifted. So there are people willing to sell their bodies, but they don't get to keep a lot of that money, and they're subjugated and abused and treated as chattel. They're trafficked. They're sex trafficked. Yeah.
That sounds terrible. Like, I guess, virtual sex traffics. Fuck. Well, I'm sorry for those women. That's fucked up.
It is.
Well, one, I'm allowed to feel empathy. I feel empathy. Yeah, I may be a bit autistic, but I feel empathy for.
Yeah, it was great autistic empathy. I think they would really appreciate it if they saw.
That's better than normal empathy. Normal empathy you'd expect, but autistic empathy, that's something special.
It's a surprise and delight, you know?
Yeah, I don't think people are expecting that on this call. Well, anyway, so do you think it's a viable route for creatives to make money with poker?
No.
No. I have another idea.
I mean, like, maybe if the market needs to expand, because right now there are very limited opportunities. And I think for a young person, yeah, there are a lot of these young up and coming brands that are building platforms and building relationships that, you know, and if poker is legalized online in America, definitely. But, you know, right now I think competition is starting to heat up, and maybe there'll be more of a market around it. Like, maybe it could, but right now I don't know that there are like a lot of people working in poker content creation that are like comfortable financially, like maybe less than a half dozen.
Really? You think it's less than a half dozen making? Huh?
I mean, I'm just trying to like count them on my head that I like genuinely think are making like real money that pays their mortgage off of content creation. I'm not going to list them for you. That would be tacky.
What? Why? Why? They want to be listed. They'll be like, yes, please mention my name on Jungleman's podcast.
I'm talking about Americans. And maybe half dozen is low. Maybe it's closer to a dozen, but it's not a large figure. It's not an industry yet.
Oh, okay. Well, it should be, by the way. And there's quite a few poker content creators. I would think there's all kinds of guys making training videos. I don't know who the fuck they are or why they're qualified.
Well, those are two different types of content creation, right? The coaching material, that's sort of a model that we've had for a longer time. We have Phil and Doug and all of these established brands that create libraries of content. Like, that's been around for a minute. But people like having influencer marketing relationships with poker is sort of a newer thing. The old model, right, is like the team pro, patched pro model, where it's like, you know, you get paid to wear the patch, or you get paid to be a partner with the brands. And now we're seeing like these different streams of like, oh, you can work directly for the media company for a poker news or a poker org as a content creator, either as an established creator making collabs or as a freelance, you know, like contract worker making content for them. Or you can, you know, work independently and try to create your own vlogs and short form content and build your own platform. And it's really hard to monetize that in a niche market, like in terms of getting enough views on YouTube to get more than like, I don't know, $1,500 a month out of it. You got to be one of the top 3 poker creators to be, you know, competing in that field.
Well, one thing I know is that YouTube doesn't pay shit. I figured that out real fucking fast.
Okay, I was like gonna say, like, how much is your podcast making? I'm not educating you right now, am I?
Are we talking about dollars? Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about something else. Because,
yeah, just like about how hard it is to like get views on YouTube and build a platform to be like paid by the actual site, like to make money off of Twitter. Like, I've had many videos do very well on Twitter, but I've never pulled money off the site. It's really hard.
You're not getting, are you not getting paid by Twitter? Like, who the fuck is getting paid by Twitter? I don't understand.
I mean, like, Mr. Beast does paid Twitter numbers. I think, like, I'd say, you know, you have to get, what are the numbers? But it's like, you have to do millions of impressions, like 4 million impressions within like a year or something.
Only 4 million. That's like a big deal.
Like maybe I was close to that in 2023, but I don't think I hit that marker because I've never bought an organic engagement. I've never paid for views. I've never paid for followers. And so whatever my views and my engagement you see, that's all me, baby.
All right. Well, 4 million views. I'm kind of close to that mark, I think. No, I haven't made a single dollar. Yeah. Who isn't? Who isn't that it's out there other than, only the 6 people, I guess. Who are these 6 people, first of all?
I feel like that would be tacky to just list who I perceive to be the top 6
where have you been
highest paid content creators. I feel like people can get, so like like Rampage and Brad are probably the ones doing best on YouTube, but even Wolfgang, who has more subscribers than anyone on YouTube, he has popped off in his shorts content, and the shorts you have to do exponentially better than the long form views to be paid for them. So he's been very upfront about the fact that he's not making a lot of money through YouTube. I think Corey has probably been able to monetize his YouTube up to this point. He's getting like 200K views a week. That's pretty decent. And his subscriber count is climbing. I think he's got a big future. Frankie is doing similar numbers and seeing similar growth. I think he could have a future, but I don't know what he's doing right now. Yeah, those are the YouTube ones for sure.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Oh, and Andrew's probably doing okay. Andrew and J-Man are doing pretty good.
Okay. I actually, by the way, meant the other way, but I have another idea. Which is, I meant like the creatives who, people who are they're doing comedy or they're doing, I meant the other way. So, or making movies or whatever. This is also a very hard industry. I know some people that do movies and do martial arts. I don't know how the fuck you make money doing martial arts, but here I am doing martial arts. Why not? And fuck, it's so hard to do martial arts. It's so hard to get flexible and stuff. But I want to become like a Mortal Kombat character. But it's a stupid dream. Anyway, so
no,
that's a great dream, actually. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Okay, so
you're talking about how flexible you are.
So I'm wondering if these kinds of people can like actually play poker because they play in soft fields. 2 possibilities: can they actually play poker and make money, or can they? I was thinking it might be an interesting idea to have them teach poker players and perhaps get lessons in poker or get paid money for lessons, because this also seems like a way for them to make money. Like this actually I thought was very viable because poker players can actually benefit big time by not being boring as fuck. They need spice lessons big time. And guess who's got the spice but no money? People, the creative people. So I figured, okay, it's a merger of worlds. And okay, so what do you think of these possibilities?
I don't know if it would be the best business venture for anyone to start connecting comedians and poker players to like teach them table presence. I don't know if that's a viable model. I'll be truthful.
I didn't say it was a venture.
Yeah, I'm not investing. I'm so sorry. I'm out, as the shark would say.
I didn't ask as a venture. I suggested as like a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, that exists to a certain extent. The Join Poker Power ladies do that. They market their brand as like helping women in business gain confidence in risk management and money management, and as like sort of something to help them and climb the corporate ladder. Poker as an activity and a networking tool. I would have to talk to those ladies directly to see if that company is growing as like, providing women with coaching and poker education as a tool for that. You'd think that would be like a slam dunk. Find women that are making money with disposable income that, need an outlet to help them network. They don't want to play golf. They don't want to, get drunk and watch football on Sunday. Playing poker as a hobby is a great way to, be competitive in that networking field. So like, I think I would be very interested to talk to the Joint Poker Power women to see if that brand is growing. I think they're investing in marketing it. I see them on Instagram all the time, investing in influencer marketing and paid promotions. So, well, that'll be a good test for us to see if that kind of model works, I guess.
What's the name called?
Join Poker Power. It was started by, gosh, I I feel disrespectful that I don't know her name off the top of my head, but
Lyndon,
it was started by a woman who was, and I know AJ Rudolph is in that organization, Kina England, your buddy from Game of Gold, and my buddy, she has done classes for them and taught for them. And I think Juan has also done a little bit of work with them. So it's from all accounts, I think it's like a great place. Another organization like that for women. I don't know how we got it talking about women's resources, but Pocket Queens Poker is Victoria Liveshit's project. And that's a great one as well.
Is that, I didn't think that one was making money, but maybe it is. I wasn't even thinking
I don't know if it is.
Exactly.
Because it's providing free poker training for women. I think it's more just like Victoria wanting women to have, access to good information and good training and not having to, and I'm, like when Ben CB made his comments about the female brain being inferior or whatever. And Victoria was like, hey, any woman who needs poker coaching, I got your back. Like, don't put up with his nonsense. Like, that's not the kind of coach you need. So I thought she was really cool to come out in that way and do that.
That was not very socially smooth. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you didn't really comment on the actual concept of, okay, I still think poker's major flaw is that everyone's boring as fuck. And when it comes to
like the current state of poker, you mean?
Yes. As far as attracting a different audience, because how the fuck is this supposed to grow if there's no opportunity for other people and there's no like attractive, like spice or whatever you want to call it, no like hooks other than, oh man, did you 3-bet? Is this in the 3-bet range of GTO or like
well, I think the biggest problem is that the game is getting harder. Within the last 10 years, the game is becoming more and more solved. There's more and more information available for free for people to get better. So like on a grander scale, the game is getting harder. So it's a lot more serious to people. And, we as people making money in poker have to sort of take it as, and I'm not always good at this, especially when I'm playing tournament poker. If I'm not, like, I'm never going to put pressure on myself to behave in a way that's not going to be authentic and natural. Or at least I try to be better about it these days not to do that. But, there's a certain onus on us to find ways to make the game more interesting and fun to keep that recreational audience engaged. What do you think are some of the best tactics that we can use sort of on a micro or macro scale to accomplish that?
Well, I'm actually writing about that, but one of the ways is to kind of distort this is one of the ways, but basically I'm trying to affect the entire industry. Let's hope so. At least in a positive way, but I'm writing ways to create different opportunities and also to alleviate the stress and trying to create more opportunities. This is one of the things that I'm getting at with this concept, which is, okay, well, maybe, and this is actually to help alleviate the stress of the creatives industry, but also to open up other possibilities, because I'm starting to get quite a few opportunities as one of the more entertaining poker players. Maybe it's my prowess. I don't know if, maybe I'm an idiot, maybe I'm naive. Sometimes I'm an idiot. But I've noticed, okay, the doors are kind of opening up for me. And it will make sense, I think, for people to aspire somehow to find it in them to. It's actually a very hard thing to do when you're under stress and your life doesn't look like it's positive, to somehow find the joy within, or to somehow find what's positive, or find a way to make something fun or interesting. It's really a hard change in the mind. By the way, this is what guys have to do that suck with women, is they have to do that. Which is probably, I would say it's harder than going to the gym, but it's possible. And anyway, so that's an outlet of sorts. That's one version of creating, you can say, value for oneself and for the poker world. But also, it's a couple other things. It's creating more opportunities in terms of jobs. Coaching can only go so far, but also it's creating more possibilities where there's different edges. So creating different kind of games. Like the Squid Game was actually a great fucking addition to poker. And it's also opening up more doors for oneself. You should probably have some doors, I would think, that you've opened. But let's just go back. I'll just talk about the Squid Game for a second. But just basically, big edges are now possible because of the Squid Game. And the solvers almost can't touch this too much. And most people haven't done it or have done the extra work. I mean, I haven't even done that much work, frankly. I've done some stuff, but it's definitely a big opportunity, not no limit hold'em where you have to play against basically humanized machines that have no life and are, basically operate as mainframes in their mom's basement. That's going to be tough. But I would think, let's go back to you for a second. I would think that you've got quite a bit of opportunity being, one of the women in poker, and you've got the comedy, and you maybe can go on streams and things like that. So you've got like some kind of outlets. Am I right?
Yeah, I talk about this with my other women in poker friends or whatever, that it's really easy for a woman to get opportunities in poker very fast because it is one of those industries where it's so male dominated that there is a huge demand and a need for female presence in like every single game. And it can be hard to be the only woman. So there's like a takeaway with that. But I think that's a big advantage in a way that you can move up very quickly. So like I could probably be welcome in any game in the country I wanted to if I had enough money to play it, just based on, that I'm a girl. Honestly, I don't think it's that hard. I think people stress out about it so hard to get into high stakes games. And I'm like, y'all, not that many people have that much money. Like just show up with the money. I think you can get in.
Oh, really?
Do you disagree?
I have a different problem usually, but I have different issues.
I see you getting into good games though, right? You're on a hustler all the time. You don't seem to be struggling to get into games, Dan.
Did you watch the Hustler from last stream? Do you watch what's going on? You have to be like fucking demented to play in this thing. You have to be a special breed of poker animal. We're way away from the theory. And I'm spicing up big fucking time, like in every way imaginable. So I'm like max spice, or almost max spice. Sometimes I get exhausted and sometimes I'm in a shitty mood, but like there was like a 5-bet.
Do you feel like you have to play that way to have a seat in the game? Yeah.
Not really, but it's kind of more inherent in my style to do things that, so I do want to redirect this back to you in a second, but let me summarize like this. So there's the theory, right? And then there's the other stuff that can be done, but the theory just kind of goes straight to the point and says, this is what's optimal. And the other stuff does work under certain conditions. And I'm the guy that's like, oh, what about those conditions? And let's just, this is where there's some value. And if you understand certain principles that underline human psychology, or, well, at least poker players' psychology, I guess, and it's more like they translate from poker or they're from human psychology, go to poker. People actually there's a few holes in people's games where they don't play at all like theory. And so I'm the guy doing funny exploits and doing crazy shit to exploit all that because I know what those holes are. And it's very hard to get around them. It's kind of like, it's very hard to turn your mind. Maybe you have experience with this. It's very hard to go from this bad state and think, fuck, I got to perform and be creative and do comedy now. Like, fuck, I'm in a shitty mood. Oh shit. I got to turn my mind into something positive. It's very hard for most people to get behind the emotion and basically disassociate with the current emotion to change their emotion. You see what I'm saying? And most people in poker just don't really do that mid-game, or don't realize the need for that in various spots and just end up doing something that's predictable. Now back to you. Now you can go ahead and comment.
I agree with you that emotional control is probably way more valuable than theoretical knowledge.
It's not just control, to be clear. It's more like the awareness that you're entering a certain state and that you're predictable and that someone's taking advantage of it. It's actually much harder than emotional control. It's more like awareness plus what's actually going on. Well, that's awareness, I guess. And then how are we going to counter that, or making sure that you're perfectly balanced? All those things are very hard to do. And most people don't realize their biases, and they have some big biases, especially when they're not perfect in the first place. Back to you now. It's your turn to talk and tell us more about comedy.
Okay.
I would think, by the way, I would pay for fucking comedy lessons. Like, this is a way I would pay, like, if someone was to teach me comedy, I would pay money. Like, this I think is like a way for the actors to make money, or the creatives, for the poker players to make money. Yeah, that's different, but I'm writing about that.
Well, I can give you a couple comedy lessons real quick, a couple of pointers if you want some basics.
Go ahead. It's a roast. You're supposed to roast me on my podcast. Oh, you did a little bit.
No, you're sweetie. Why am I going to be mean to your face? I do satire. I do characters. I'm not really like, oh, damn. No, I do roast too. But I don't know. It's my first time meeting you. If we go out to dinner, I'll be a piece of shit to you if you want.
All right. I'm sick of people being nice to me. All these fans coming to me, I'll be like, and they're saying, oh, Jungleman, you're my idol. And like, how are you? And did you win today? And like, no, I wouldn't. Dude, say something like, fuck you, Jungleman. Why did you 5 bet queen 7 off, you piece of shit? Like, I mean, maybe not that, but some roasts would be funny. And
okay, well, if any occur to me, I'll let them rip.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead with the satire? What was I going to say?
I forgot. Oh, the comedy lessons. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to teach you anything new, but like the first rule for just like being better at conversations and better at riffing and like joking around with your friends and like having good conversations at the poker table is the rule of yes and. Like, so you have to train. It's improv. Yeah. The best way to train your brain is to not ask questions and not to do denials. So when you're in like a riffy, funny conversation, don't say, that's not true. You would never do that. Instead, you're like, yeah, I bet you would. And you would shit your pants afterwards. Like always be adding. Don't be taking away. Don't be asking like too many questions. And if you're trying to have like a funny, riffy conversation or write a funny sketch, like, questions are just going to sort of derail the heightening and finding of the game. And then, that's pretty much the starter pack for figuring out how to start testing out your comedy chops, riffing with friends. Don't deny, don't ask questions, add, build, yes, and. There you go.
I think the poker players could definitely, I mean, I'm going to go yes, and poker players could definitely use some improv lessons. That's probably one of the most plus EV things I've done. I have mentioned that a few times in terms of life EV was some improv. Maybe I should do that more actually.
Well, the huge thing that improv teaches you is that like you're playing a team sport, that like a conversation or a communication, you have to be listening. You have to be building together to create something. And, I'm more of a stand-up person naturally. That's sort of my inclination. I'm a lone wolf, we're sort of like isolating types and, we don't like to have an authority figure, that's what I am now. But, as a comedian, that's more my type. But like improv people are like, play well in the sandbox, grew up in the Midwest, had parents that loved them and are still married. It's like very like teamwork. Let's go. I still have parents that are married and love each other, by the way.
Oh, I almost felt sorry for you. I was almost going to say, well, I'm so sorry that you're poor. Stand-up comedy has been fucked up.
Since I use that as an example, I have to explain that Jim and Ellen are both still alive and married since 1981.
So, see, this sounds like a great joke for somebody at the table who just stacks their opponent. They're pissed off at them, and is like, no, man, we got to be on a team together, and we're in a team. Let's do the yes and, man, yes and. We're still there's some kind of joke in there.
And then he would say, no, I yes-anded you by calling and giving you all my money. And now I'm going to yes-and you by buying back. Now shut the fuck up, bitch.
There you go. Well, this could be a thing. Caitlin's improv lessons or something along those lines 100%. Or stand-up comedy lessons. So what was it that made you go into stand-up comedy, and how do you write the material? How do you find like the spark for the satire, unless someone claims to look better than another person for $100K?
Yeah, y'all kind of gift wrapped it that one for me. I didn't really have to do a whole of a lot, Dan. You're really on one that day. But where do I find ideas? A lot of times I just like things that are naturally funny already is like a great place to start. So a lot of times I'll start off with something somebody actually said. And a lot of times in my parodies, I'll be like either saying tweets verbatim or just sort of like tweaking things. But I think it's really like the funniest and the most interesting when it's true to life. And I'm more so just like holding up a mirror to what's actually going on. So that's kind of where I like to start, is just when things make me laugh. And I've trained my brain for like the last 15 years to whenever anything makes me laugh or I make somebody else laugh, I'll like pull out my phone and I'll like make a little note of it. And then when I'm like kind of in a dry spell and I'm like, oh shit, I have like a sponsored piece due, I have to think of something funny and I have nothing. And then I can pull out handwritten journals, my notepad on iPhone, my voice memos, and then I just have a big pile of shit to go through and inspire me in those moments. So yeah, that's creativity.
So you've got jokes on reserve. Is that what you're saying? You got doomsday jokes.
Yeah, my draft folders are always full because I'm also a perfectionist. So it's like I never want to post I can be one of my not good habits is that I can care way think of me or how it's going to be perceived or how it goes with the overall vision. So I can be really particular about what I post. So my draft folders are always full. But yeah. So I forgot what you're talking about. My phone started ringing.
How you're making material and all that. I have a question. Yeah. Okay, so how would you suppose you're going to take your poker content? Well, I mean, I presume this is what your goal is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to try to make quite a bit of money or become famous. I mean, I guess the money comes from the fame. I don't really know how it works with either the poker content or the.
I'll talk to Mr. Famous later, and I'll clarify for us.
Okay, or from the poker content, or from the comedy material. I would think. How does that work exactly?
So right now, I've
make lots of money from this.
Lots of money. I think we're still in sort of startup phase of the business of Caitlin as a poker influencer. We've got some accolades, we've got some awards on our shelf, and people are starting to figure out who I am. And I've been fortunate and lucky enough to be hired by almost all the major brands this year for collaborations, working as an independent contractor. Yeah, I worked with BetMGM. I've worked with PokerStars. I worked with WPT. I've worked with PokerOrg. Right now, I'm just working as a contract worker.
Dude,
and I don't want to act like
girl.
I'm thank you. I don't want to act like I'm swimming in it or anything. I'm definitely but I think I'm in a good spot to where I would love to have a more long-term relationship with one of these major brands, because I've been very particular about what I've said yes to over these last couple of years of getting.
Girl, know your worth. Girl, know your worth.
Well, that's the thing is I don't want to tarnish my name. I really care about not hurting my followers. I don't want to shill things that I think could hurt them. I've said no to shilling slots. I've said no to being a blackjack streamer. I've said no
too, by the way.
To running. Yeah. I care that, I think poker is a skill game that is beatable, that has life skills that are applicable, that has community. I feel like there is good in that I'm okay being a poker influencer and a promoter of poker brands. But the minute I think my followers could get hurt, or that's a situation where predatory rake, or that's a situation where people could be colluding, or that's a situation where I know that site has a lot of robots on it. I want to be respectful. So right now I'm just holding out for one of these brands that has sort of hired me on a short-term basis to want a longer-term relationship with me. And I really think I'm knocking on the door of that. And I'm hopeful that that'll happen within, the next few months. And, hopefully I'll have an exciting announcement soon, and then I can get more steady income from a relationship that's more long term, and I can focus on getting better at poker and making the best content and not job insecurity, which I think will be a really exciting and fun time for me.
So Caitlin's got some options, huh? Caitlin's a little bit of a flirt. Okay, and
I'm trying.
Has some integrity too.
Well, I don't have a manager, and I have a horrible business acumen. I'm really bad at negotiating and stuff. So I'm trying to find, my people that can help me just be the fruity little artist theater nerd girl, and they can take care of all that. So hopefully I'll find those relationships in the very near future, or maybe they're in the works. I don't know, and I can just be the fruity little funny girl again for y'all.
Let me introduce you to the real business proposition that I've kind of got going on of sorts, which is basically to be a job brokerage and to create a job brokerage within the Jungleverse community, which is at its very beginning. And the idea here would be okay, guys, Caitlin needs someone to negotiate for her. Does anyone have any negotiating experience that can help her out? But she's got to, you gotta pay, you gotta get, well, they gotta get paid. You gotta pay them. But it's more like the job brokerage of okay, here's all these little jobs that can happen. And so now not everyone needs to crush, and maybe someone can build out a fucking agency or whatever, because there's not so many agencies for this kind of thing.
I keep hearing that you're very interested in like harnessing community. That seems to be very interesting to you. I'd be very interested to know what your like sign is. No, not a lot of people are like engaged in their community like that, and their brain works to solve problems by like having people work together and like, I don't know. I think that's interesting. I'd be interested. When's your birthday?
Oh, this is, I don't know if it means anything, but I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio. Okay, well, happy early birthday. It's coming up.
Actually, this birthday might be very interesting. A little bit of spoilers, but I'm doing the Path of the Buddha, and like as a bizarre coincidence. So that could be spicy, and we'll see how that goes. Anyway, back to you. Yeah. So, okay. Well, it sounds like I would think that these things pay pretty well, right? Like I would think, like a contract with PokerStars or WPT. And by the way, normally the artist is the one who gets... I would think that these guys are ethical, but normally the artist is the one who gets shafted in these sorts of agreements.
Well, I feel like wildly. It would be tacky and irresponsible to talk figures and facts on a public podcast, darling.
I didn't ask for figures and facts. I just talked, are we getting paid or are we not getting paid? Okay?
I'm not working for free, baby. I'm not working for free. We can yes or no that one.
No. I mean, is the money decent? Like, is this like even a possibility? Because poker needs more spice, more skits and whatever, and you're kind of at the frontier of it.
I'm making less money this year doing these independent contracts than I was as a 1-2 grinder. I'll say that. It's been a drop off and sort of shifting my focus from cash poker to playing like tournaments and doing influencer marketing. But that's sort of been a calculated risk that I've chosen to take in the hopes of actually building something that can be like a 10-year career for me, that is not dependent on whether or not I win or lose at poker. I'm in a position to do that. I'm very lucky, and, you know, hopefully it works out for me.
Okay. I hope it works out for you too, because it's beneficial for everybody, and I like to see people succeed. So there's that. I would think that you're able to get on, like, are there not any $1-2 streams or something? I think there's some low stakes streams.
Well, that's the thing is I'll get invited. I only say yes to the small games right now because I'm not making as much money. And I also spent a ton of money on Ozempic this year, which is like a total different conversation. But I spent a lot of my money getting healthy and losing weight.
Do you want to talk about that too? I'm curious about that also.
It's not that interesting, but we can. But yeah, so I was only saying yes to like 5-10 games and below. Like if people would invite me to play like a 1-2 or a 1-3 game, like I'd roll through and like splash around and have fun. But I didn't really want to like get a stake in play to be playing uncapped 10 quarter like I was before. Like it's very stressful. It's hard to be the only girl in the game. The cash lifestyle is hard. Another part of losing weight was that, you know, when I was a cash grinder that was making money and I was organizing games, I was like a fucking party animal. Like I could fucking hang with the fraternity brothers and you know, like I could, you know, create a fun game and really hang. But like the cost came with like being overweight and, you know, not chain smoking and not feeling that great. So a part of my decision to get more involved with content and tournaments was that I wanted to start cultivating a lifestyle for myself where I could see like having a family, you know, and like growing and maturing into this career where I don't want to be 45 getting drunk with a bunch of coked up married dudes trying to touch my tits. Not like that's 100% always what's going on, but you know, on a bad night, that's definitely what it is, you know?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it real. If you play the private games, you gotta put up with the private game antics.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't sound like, not really where you want to be.
No, like I can't imagine like going home like to like a 9-month infant after I was just like railing lines with a bunch of golf buddies, and then I'm like, baby, like no, but I can see it happening with being like an online like tournament streamer or a live tournament pro. That woman can come home sober to her baby and be a good wife and mother for her family, you know?
Yeah, I get. Okay, it's making sense now. It's always interesting to look through the portals of like what else is going on. That's my thing.
Different motivators.
What's going on all these weird ways of living? I wouldn't know about that. especially as, that's apparently my thing these days. So, all right, so there's money in there. It's a bit saddening that you're not getting a bit more money. I would think that they're paying you a bit more. I think
I've been very patient and very deliberate, and I've held out for what I really want. And I am not confident. I think confident. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I've been manifesting and working towards a very specific goal of having a long-term relationship with one of these brands for, the last 2 years very concertedly. So I have the faith and the confidence that it can happen for me. There are no guarantees in life, but that's where I'm headed, and I've worked really hard for it, and I don't see why not me, so let's go.
Okay, fair enough. Well, hopefully you get to play more streams. It seems like a good offer for you to play on streams. We need more people making poker fun and more yes ands.
It's just hard with the streams, Dan. I have a history with streams where, like, I've never really played well. I've always gotten my ass handed to me. Even when I play well, I run bad, and I'm very much a losing player in cash live streams over time. Any money I've won has not been on camera, so it's not fun for me. It makes me very nervous. I don't know that I can be like the spicy, talkative self that I am at, like, a tournament table when I'm, like, comfortable and feel I don't know that I am able to show up that way on stream every time. There are, like, occasions, there are exceptions. Like, I did a Poker Night in America stream with other content creators where we were playing at a stake that I was comfortable in a room where I had, like, been working for the past, like, month that I was very comfortable in. So I smashed it on that stream. I did really well. And if I could show up and play like that more often, there's no reason I wouldn't be playing live streams. But right now I'm currently trying to figure out how I can show up the girl that is a winning poker player when they turn the cameras on, because right now there's a disconnect.
Well, one thing, I don't know how you play, sorry. But
I'm a blaster.
Blaster? Well, that means at least you've got seats for a while. I will say that there's, like, it's quite a small sample on the streams. It's like you kind of hope that the stream lasts a long time. That's part of the thing, but the games seem out of this planet good, if they're anything like what they are. Yeah, there should be, like, pretty high win rates possible if you're, generally speaking.
Yeah, I just gotta find with someone who believes in me, honestly, if I wanted to pivot to play cash. But again, like, I've kind of made the decision that I like the lifestyle of a tournament player a little bit better than a cash stream player. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility that I couldn't lean that direction in the future if I start making more money and find people that believe in my poker game and want to take a shot at getting me in these spots that I have. Like, I can see that happening, but that's not the current state of affairs.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about Ozempic for a little bit.
Okay.
I would think, I think a lot of people could relate to this. And actually one of my passions, by the way, is helping people get in shape and creating situations where people are, like, more actively getting in shape. One of the features of the community that's been pretty successful is that it's people doing more physical activities and that kind of thing, and doing more health and fitness stuff. I'm stubborn as fuck in that I don't take anything really strong. I haven't taken Ozempic. I've taken L-carnitine injections, but I wanted to get into, like, fitness model S shape. It's fucking hard without steroids or something. But maybe Ozempic is, I think a lot of people would probably benefit from Ozempic, at least in mild doses. I had Lynn on the podcast, and she was saying really mild doses are really helpful. The natural way is very, very difficult to lose weight, I would think, but there's some.
Yeah, well, in America, our food is poison. So that's like, if you're having a diet of a lot of processed foods or you're drinking a lot of sodas and stuff, like, your body's just never going to quite feel satiated. And it was really helpful for me to just turn off the food noise. It became really a lot easier not to overeat or emotionally eat or eat out of boredom. It definitely helped me with that. When I did go on the higher doses for a while, because I started, like, obese, like, I was 40 pounds heavier than I am now when I started taking the drugs. So I did do the higher doses for a while, and like, in a way I felt kind of like a cancer patient at times. Like, I didn't stay on that high dose for very long because I really did struggle with nausea and getting dehydrated, and part of that was good because it got me in a much better place discipline wise about drinking enough water and eating enough protein and centering my diet more around protein so that I can stay fuller longer. And, eating more meat has been incredible in that respect. So I lost 40 pounds over 6 months, and then my hair started falling out, and that was really freaking me out. So yeah, like not like, I don't know, like I had a lot of hair to start with, so we're okay, but it freaked me out enough to where I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to maintenance mode for a while, because I'm not at my goal weight yet. I'd love to lose like 15 to 20 more pounds and get, back to where I was sort of like post college, like really, like I like to be thinner, like fucking sue me. So I would love to get there, but just because the hair loss was freaking me out, I got off the medicine and I'm on a maintenance journey for probably through the holidays, through the end of the year. And then maybe in January, I can look to start putting myself back in a calorie deficit. But I use the app Lose It. I track my calories. I don't do it like 365 days a year, but it's a great like goalpost to like come back and refer to and keep yourself realistic about your portion control and what you're eating. And the macros tracking and things like that. But yeah, it's been great. A huge motivator for me wanting to start the medicine this year in general was I just got so many hate comments and troll comments about my weight on all of my content, and anything I did, it would just, be incel comments about how hard I was to look at, or vomit emojis, or she must eat McDonald's every day. Just like a lot of really cruel comments. And like, I was a chubby kid. Like I've always struggled with my weight. I've lost and gained 50 pounds like a bunch of times. So it was really hard for me to have it part of my daily routine to wake up and see people just like saying the worst things that people used to say to me when I was a little girl to make me feel bad. Like I couldn't take it anymore. So sort of setting aside that money and investing in an Ozempic journey was really important. And I'm in such a great spot right now. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying it's the best route for everyone. There were definitely lots of moments where I was super uncomfortable and sick, but it definitely, I'm so much happier. I feel better. I have more energy. My sleep is better. I don't struggle with drinking too much. Like now, if I get drunk, it's a big deal. It's a special occasion. And, yeah, it's been a really nice, rewarding journey for me.
Oh, congrats on losing all the weight. And, okay, it sounds like not that bad of a thing to take, I guess, in general.
I don't want to speak for everyone, and a lot of people get paranoid about like long-term side effects and stuff like that, but it was really helpful for me. I had been trying with like counting calories. I took spin class, and I was just really struggling with the overeating, and it kind of simplified. And I had a friend actually who had a success with Ozempic and had many friends that had success with Ozempic. It's a mutual of ours, actually, my friend Jules. And Jules was like, you just like, Caitlin, why are you making this hard on yourself? Like, why are you like running uphill right now when you could just be like on an easy path? Like, let's get this done for you. So I'm really lucky that I had that friend in my life that was willing to hurt my feelings and piss me off a little bit to get me on the Ozempic path, I guess.
I'm actually a little bit of a fan of getting your feelings hurt a little bit in tactical ways.
It can be good, right? It can benefit.
Well, it's kind of like you put up with like a bunch of like small cuts for a really long time, or you get your feelings hurt and then do something about it, or like sometimes it's a good thing. I personally think so, but
no, and Jules is that friend for me. She'll keep me together. One time we were walking, and I'm sure she'll do this to you too. One time we were walking down the hall,
yeah, she will,
of some casino, and she's just looking at my face like kind of inquisitively, and I'm like, Jules, what are you thinking right now? She's like, you have really good skin. You don't have to wear all that makeup. And at the time I'll keep it real. I love you, Jules. I love you. But I was so pissed off at the time. And I just was like, thank you. Like, whatever. But then like I got home in my room. I'm like looking at my skin. I bought new makeup. I changed the whole routine. Like, I always listen to her. You need people in your life that are going to keep you together and looking good.
That is true. She said I look old. I did not. By the way, I don't feel pain from this. Really? I don't know what's going on.
By the way, she's going to be so happy that we're devoting this much of the show talking about her.
Well, she's definitely, for being so much of an outlier and actually being the girl that will say the truth, is quite something to be said these days. A lot of people will not say it. So we're a fan of saying truth on the podcast.
Yeah, we're a fan of you, Jules. Shout out to Jules. Keep it real.
Yeah, well, she just got me on the skincare routine.
Yeah, you're glowing.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do I actually look younger now that I've been using the skincare routine?
Well, I mean, this is our first Zoom call together, so I don't have a huge point of reference, but your skin looks lovely today. Okay,
that's great. I've been using La Mer. I know about La Mer now.
Oh, so, shit. Yeah, he got them from the ocean ingredient.
I know you girls know about your creams and all that stuff.
Our tinctures.
Yeah. But now I'm into it. I'm like, okay, now I get it. With regards to fitness, I actually am a fan of doing the hard thing, just for the record. But I personally advocate that because that's where like loads of the value is the fucking hard shit. But
I'll tell you what, the female body is different, Daniel, because like when I was doing the spin classes 5 days a week, when I was running 5 days a week, you're getting stress like injuries. I'd get tendonitis in my hip or my ankles or my shins from running.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd have to take breaks because I was over exercising in different eras of my life. And then like, I just think it's a lot better for women, especially women my age in their 30s to, be doing low impact exercises like Pilates, yoga, walking. And I love my spin classes. I think they're great for my mental and for working hard. Like, just like what you said, like I'm a fan of doing the hard thing. I'm not like, I like to sweat. I like to feel that I worked hard, but I just think hormonally sometimes for women, it's just like a little bit better to work in harmony with what we got going on. And I get better results with fat loss 100% when I focus on nutrition and I'm just like getting my steps in and walking and maybe doing a few plank poses, but I don't know. Food matters more for sure.
Sure. Well, let's put it like this. There's such a thing as too hard as well. And I don't know much about like what's best for women really. I've heard Pilates is really great. I'm personally like busting my ass, but I'm like kind of sicko.
Well, yeah, because you're going to be the next Bruce Lee, right? That's what the martial fitness classes are for.
It's going to be a minute, man.
You're going to become a Hollywood stunt guy. Dan Jungleman Cates, stunt guy for Chuck Norris.
I'm trying to be really a lot of things, which turns out to be really fucking hard. But yes, it'll be a minute though. It'll be.
I do that too, where I'll focus on too many things. I'll spread myself thin, and I won't make as much progress as I want to because I love doing so many different things.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's like everything's too interesting. One thought occurred to me. When you are focusing on comedy, how hard is it to get like gigs and things like that? Are you still even doing that? Or are you focused on...
I'm focused on poker and content creation right now. I'm actually going to a stand-up mic after I talked to you today. I have a friend in town. She was my friend that I toured Burlesque with. We met doing a Shakespeare play in LA, and we've been very close personal friends for over 10 years now. Julia. I love Julia. Different Jules from before. But anyway, we're going to an open mic because she's trying to get into stand-up. So when I left Pinups on Tour, I had written like my stand-up script and all my hosting jokes and all my like whatever. I gave it to her as like my parting gift, like the script that I wrote, my hosting script and so she had been doing my jokes for a few years and now she's starting to write her own material. And so we're doing our first open mic today and I'm real excited about that to support her and be there for that. But in terms of me, I haven't been doing long live performance. It's starting to be like a thing in the back of my mind where if I can sort of outsource some of my editing, because right now I do all my own editing. I do all my own, I hire nobody. I'm so cheap. I don't do anything. To where if I had like a partnership where I have more capital available to free up that time for me, I would love to use it, trying to find some opportunities to perform live again. And like hosting corporate events, I think would be a great fit for me with my background and something that I would love to find a path to get into. So long answer is not currently, but there are ideas and structures in place to make it a reality in the future.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind of have a map of sorts towards that. It sounds, I got plans. I'm goal oriented. Yeah, I can see. That's insightful, actually. I mean, it reminds me a bit of my own course in towards creative ventures and things like that. But yes, you have to prioritize. And for the record, guys, if you're trying to get successful, it really helps to focus on one thing. There's actually a book called The One Thing. That's a book. In case it wasn't clear, that's a book. And yeah, that's what's challenging when you have too many interests. But with poker, anything helps a lot. Anyway, so do you have any satires of sorts in the works that you can tell us about? Any people that need to be made fun of? And here's your opportunity.
Well, I have one more video leading up to the North American Poker Tour that PokerStars has asked me to make. And I really want to collaborate with other PokerStars talent. So, both Joe Stapleton and Marley Sprague are close personal friends of mine. Marley more so. I've known Marley longer, but, I'd really like to find a way to collaborate with them. It's hard when you're in remote places to try to figure out what the best vision is, but I pulled it off with Nikki for the sketch I did about you. So I think I'm going to try to do something like that with Marley and Joe, but it's percolating in there, but it's not formed enough that I can give you more info than that I want to collaborate with Marley and Joe.
Okay. Well, looking forward to it. I'll try to do some absurd shit in the meantime. I'll do my best.
Yeah, if you could give me some more material, please, and just be the based autist that you're meant to be out in the universe for me.
Well, I can definitely do that. It's a little bit challenging, though, to be the based autist and not find ways of embarrassing yourself with the status quo and all that. But
well, that's another thing. But honestly, Dan, that's something I tell people. We were talking about the yes and like comedy coaching conversation earlier. The other thing I tell people is like, you have to be ready and willing to humiliate yourself. And that has to be not a big deal to you. Like, you have to be the first to. Yeah, like, and it's, you got to be willing to be the punchline. You have to be the first punchline. And to do that, a lot of times you're going to like have egg on your face or fall flat or have a joke that lands cringe. Like, I had a video, like when I was in Borgata, I did a little sketch that was like a little different from other stuff I had done that was more so like what else I was seeing other creators do on Instagram. And my Twitter following raked me over the coals. They're like, this is the cringe. And I've never had such a negative reaction to a video. They were like, this is cringe. And it's like all the comments the other content creators get, like, oh, this is so cringe, or they like, they're waste of space and like blah, 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 or I'm vomiting, or this is so gross, or I've played with her before and she acts like this and it's awful. And I'm just like, fuck, Jesus, you know, but they're not all going to be home runs. You have to be willing to take a beating every now and then. And the funny thing about that video is I was like taking a beating on Twitter, just like absolutely getting chewed up. But if you go over to Instagram, it's one of my most popular videos, like one of my highest performing videos. The young kids, they eat that shit up. They love it. It's got like close to 50K views, which is good for me on Instagram. So I don't know. You gotta try a lot of shit and be willing to embarrass yourself.
I have an open mind. By the way, this reminds me of a video I made. I made like this dance from China. It was like this, they said, oh, it's going to be easy. This dance is called like the flower dance, which is, China does like loads of weird shit. And I was just like dancing into this weird fucking music. And
can we make a dance TikTok next time I see you at an event?
I have the dance for us, by the way. Would you like to bring
send
back...
it to me.
Well, we need a kind of name. Well, I want to do In Sync, actually.
Done. The bye one with the little fist pumps.
Yes.
Got it. That's the choreo. Okay, make sure you memorize the original choreo. We're doing original choreo.
Okay, well, you need to get a dance instructor, or someone needs to do that. But I'm
the dance instructor. Fuck you. Fall in line. I'm the dance. I make dance TikToks. You don't know this, Dan? I'm like a dancey TikTok. Oh yeah, I love a dance TikTok. Go to my TikTok. It's all just me dancing like an asshole.
All right. Well, we can get Ebony and we can get whoever the fuck else.
Ebony? Did you just call her Ebony? Ebony.
Ebony is also into the dance. But whoever wants to join the new In Sync, I don't know. We need to think of a name too. Poker Sync or something.
Why did you call her Ebony? I can't get past that.
You know, sometimes I make mistakes. And
is that what you said as when you were like little and you saw the word ebony for the first time, like describing the color? Did you say in your head ebony, and you've been saying ebony in your head for like 3 decades?
I don't know how to answer this question.
So here we are. All right, well, I'll take it. I don't care.
Okay.
If I can't get embarrassed on my own podcast,
you asked me to troll you, and then you said ebony, and you don't want me to say shit.
Well, now I don't know if you're being serious or not. Maybe you're just really trying to troll me. Then you're not even like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And make it feel bad.
I don't know. You spent the last hour with me. Am I a vicious cunt or am I a nice lady?
You seem to be a refined young lady who's gone past her days of getting her tit grabbed by like drunk dudes.
My dick grabbed? My dick grabbed?
By drunk college grabbed,
Daddy!
No, well, that's what you said. You said it earlier.
I said my tits. I said my tits. Yeah. I did not come out as transgender on your podcast, sir.
No, I said tit. That's what I said.
I heard dick, and that made me laugh.
It's not that far. Okay, well.
Okay,
it seems
you're
like
denying me right now. You weren't even listening to the comedy lessons. God damn it, Dan.
Oh, shit. Oh. Excuse me.
We're a team right now. Don't leave me out there taking strays in no man's land.
I'm still a little bit traumatized of my last run-in with the transgender crowd. Apparently I said that something about being tall and it offended somebody. So I'm like, maybe that's what it was. Like maybe
we gotta have compassion for our transgendered friends. They're the butt of every joke right now. They take a lot of harassment. So we gotta have love and empathy and support for our transgendered friends. They take a lot of shit.
All right, fair enough.
They take a lot of shit.
Well, all right. Shout out to the transgender crowd. Sorry for all the shit you're going through. This sounds like a really rough episode for you. I guess it makes sense. I can kind of understand. What I mean is,
they're doing okay. They're happy. They're doing better than us, probably. We don't gotta worry about them. They're killing it.
All right, I'm gonna try not to get canceled here, but I can just totally understand how some, these kinds of guys might feel total rage towards the world. That would not surprise me. I would just be like, I felt total rage before, so I know.
Me too.
I know. I probably don't know how it is, to be fair.
No,
all right,
you don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. All right, so any person that would be good for satire. We're here filled with compassion for the transgender people. For us to repeat.
Full of compassion.
Thank God. All right, go ahead. Anyone else that needs to be satired to finish the episode?
You want me to do an impression for you right now?
If you can.
Let me see if I can. It's hard with the headphones on. Let me
Should I give you some prompts?
Hello, I'm Jennifer Tilly. My Jennifer Tilly voice. I always thought it was quite lovely to play poker as Jennifer Tilly.
That's my Jen Tilly. There you go. I love her. I worship her.
Actually, this reminds me of a funny story of Phil Locke. I should work on my Phil Locke expression. But
you got a Halloween date yet? Let's go. Jen Tilly and Phil Locke Halloween 2024. We got this, brother.
There you go. So Phil Locke, apparently one time he's walking down the streets in Mexico or somewhere, and it's late out. And it's, this kind of situation where you can get robbed. So he's walking down and there's 4 people who are kind of coming in close around him. And he's getting the feeling maybe he's going to get robbed or something. So Phil Locke decides to do the only option that's available at the moment in this time, which is just start coughing and going, and just starts talking to himself and acting like a crazy person, etc. And acting like someone who's homeless and that kind of thing. And this is apparently what gets him out of this jam of being robbed. Clearly this was the move in case anyone ever gets in a situation where there's this is the Phil Locke solution anyway.
Thank you, Phil Locke.
Yeah, thank you, Phil Locke.
That's a great strategy. That's how I'm going to end the interview eventually. When I see you starting to get bored by my answers and was like, you like that one? We got you.
That's no one's ever done that before. A for author for creativity.
Thank you.
I would personally find it entertaining anyway. I'm found the guy. Anyway, so any last words before we finish? Anything you want to promote?
Yes. So if you would like to win a seat to the WPT $5 million free roll, the only way you get in is by winning a seat. It is invite only, and you can get one of my 4 seats. I'm giving away 4 seats. I haven't given any away yet. This is October 24th. I'm giving the first one away next Monday, the 28th, and then I'm going to be giving away seats leading up to the free roll. The free roll seat is worth $2.5. How you get entered to win my seat is you go to clubwptgold.com, use my promo code Caitlin, that's CAITLIN, and you are entered to win my free roll seats in December for the Winter Festival at the Wynn. So good luck. Use promo code Caitlin.
All right, guys, promo code Caitlin. Get those seats. Seems like a big deal.
Yep. And I will be at the North American Poker Tour with PokerStars. And I'm very looking forward to seeing y'all in November.
All right. And thank you for your time, Caitlin.
Thank
and
you.
your impressions and all the above. I'll maybe see you in November. Or actually, maybe... Wait, is it November or December?
The NAPT is November 1st through the 10th. And I will be there at Resorts World with PokerStars for that.
Okay, cool.
Are you going to be in town for that?
No, I can't be.
Okay. Well, then I'll see you in December. I'll see you in December then.